Welcome to the Operation STRIX podcast. I am your host, LaCroix. Joining me today is Cool Blue Rays.
Fluffy Loid Supremacy!
Fluffy Loid Supremacy. And also joining us for the first time is the lovely and talented Tari.
Hello guys. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Love to have you. And this is kind of a special podcast for us. Well, I don't know if special is the right word, but we haven't had a podcast in a few weeks, and that was a joint combination of technical failures and also the holidays and just kind of schedules not aligning. But we're back, and we're here to talk about the new chapter that dropped just this morning. I guess first order of business, as it usually is, I just want to hear y'all's general impression of this chapter, because me personally, I adored this chapter. This is probably, for me, one of the best chapters I've had in a long time. But I want to know what y'all think.
Anya and Bond definitely have some crazy times together. Their whole Bond's introduction arc is already crazy enough, but whenever Loid is involved, it goes up 5 times as insane.
Yeah,
because Loid can do more with Bond. In this chapter alone, it's already an example of that. But last time, it was already bad enough because Bond decided to help Loid out with his mission and sneaking into a scientist's lab. What?
Yes.
It they made a success out of it. It actually worked out really well for them.
Yeah.
And Bond Loid was totally cool. Bond can come with me on my mission.
Bond can come whenever. He's an asset.
He can smell out the enemies, or he can hear them. He's totally an asset. He was totally cool with just his pet dog coming with him on a mission. He didn't try to stop him or anything, not really. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna come and avenge get revenge or something."
Oh yeah, avenge
so
himself, all the apple.
Bond just wanted a nice meal and not to die from yours hand. That was simply it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's really, all we could ask for is just don't eat yours cooking.
But it was really nice to see that Loid was actually trying to train Bond up to be kind of like a security guard dog, which I didn't expect to see, but it makes a lot of sense that he was working on that with him, because Bond's part of the family and he's a really smart doggy. He's shown to be a very smart dog, so it makes sense to me that Loid would think it'd be best to have Bond be some kind of guard dog as well. Well, even though he's a big fluffy dude, so he doesn't look that intimidating.
Yeah,
sometimes.
And
he's just so cute.
Yeah, he is. He's our little fluff ball. But he had mentioned it very briefly, I believe, in one panel when.
Yes, in chapter 24. Lloyd really likes dogs. He likes dogs. In chapter 24, Lloyd already planned to train Bond. I got the book right here. Chapter 24.
Chapter 20, it was the York cooking one, and that was when I guess they were waiting for her to come back home or whatever.
Yep.
And he was just we should start on security training next, and that was just in usual Endo fashion. That was just a one-off comment, and then he turned it into what is now going to be a 2-part story, or more parts. Maybe. But I loved it. Like you said, I love the Loid and Bond bonding chapters, especially especially because I just it just works into my head canon that Loid is like a dog person, just from his interactions, right?
It's like that good old fashioned man's best friend narrative, right?
Yeah.
The guy has his best friend, the dog, very loyal, loving companion, and Loid and Bond fit that to a T practically.
Oh, definitely.
It's actually it's just really fun because it's this very traditional kind of idea about pets and family members, but then the dog can see the future and the man is spy, so it's an extra little layer of spice
Yeah, that keeps it interesting,
Yeah.
which is
No, yeah, because like Lloyd would think, oh, Bond's got like this great intuition. It's like no, he literally can see the future.
right.
I mean, I'm sure he's got like some great intuition, but like his future sight makes him like 10 times smarter than any average dog.
Right.
You know, but the lightheartedness is enjoyable, and I just like a good Lloyd Bond, master and
It's my favorite.
loyal dog. It's a great little dynamic. Like you didn't think you wouldn't think that Lloyd getting along with a family dog Bond would be so cute and wholesome.
It's so
But it
satisfying.
really is.
Ugh.
It really is. Like
Yeah, it
I
is.
fully expected. Bond and Anya are going to be connected, but Lloyd isn't going to care. Or yours. She's nice enough to Bond, but like I didn't think Lloyd was going to give any kind of shit about Bond.
Yeah.
But he actually does, and it's really like it's nice to see, and it's also interesting to see Lloyd. He weirdly enough listens to Bond whenever he's like insistent about like we need to go this way, like we need to go now. You're gonna follow me,
Right.
And Bond, Lloyd's just like doesn't say anything. He's just like doesn't question it too hard.
He
He's
just
like,
goes
"Sure."
along with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like why does he weirdly trust like Bond's intuition as an animal more so sometimes even than like other people's?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thought.
And that goes
Or,
back
like-
to my whole thing of like he's totally a
Or like
dog
kind of
person.
like him. Lloyd has a problem where he thinks too hard about a lot of things on his own, to the point of like probably giving himself neurotic headaches or something. But like when it came to Bond, he didn't really think about it too hard. He just did it, and things just kept happening. He didn't really think too hard about it, which is a little interesting how unexpected it kind of is. But I think it makes sense that he would sort of just trust that Bond knows what he's doing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's another thing. And actually, I'm going to talk to you about this, Tari, because you made a you made a comment before this podcast started. But the whole part about him just going with the flow when it comes to Bond, like, and we had talked about this early in the morning when we first saw the chapter, but just the fact that he would run into a burning building after this dog, even though he has no idea why.
And the way Lloyd when apologizing to the old man, he make Bond bow. It's like Lloyd treats his son,
I mean, he does. He very much treats Bond like a member of the family, and like, I mean, him and Anya are like brother and sister, basically. Like,
We love that soft love. We really love that soft love.
yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, Soft Lloyd is what we got this chapter, and just it's just. He's so worn down at this point. Like, we kind of talked about it with the last chapter and the chapter before that, and basically all the chapters before that. Every podcast we've discussed it, but yeah, no, he is very uncharacteristic of Twilight, but very characteristic of Lloyd Forger.
Yeah. Like he really tried to understand Bond the way he really tried to understand Anya. Like Bond is his son. I mean, like, yeah, he is his son. Like, that's so cute for me. Really, really cute.
Well, and that whole bit about him trying to understand Bond, like, I'm reading it verbatim. My understanding of Bond is lacking. It's the same with Anya. So he feels frustrated over the fact that like he thinks he knows his family and he doesn't. Oh, there it is. That's the panel I was looking for. Sorry. That stupid smile he has. Every time, like, one of his family members does something, he got that little like...
He's so proud.
He is!
He's like super proud of his dog. It's like, you saved a puppy. Good for you, man.
Yeah, good for
You're
you, man.
A real hero.
Yeah, I remember when I saved my first puppy, like, that sort of thing. Like,
Lloyd literally ran into the head pat, like he gives Anya when he was very proud. He gives the head pat. Yeah, the same head to Bond. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, well, and I think that, I mean, to a certain extent, I think, like, I don't, I wish he would just hug Anya. Like, I think we all do. But, like, I think that's just, like, his...
He would go that way. He would go that
Yeah, no, that's how he shows affection, though. Yes, you're right. But that's... It's not so much that, like, oh, I'm only going to give you a head pat. Like, for Lloyd, a head pat is a lot.
Yeah. bothering is that Lloyd really try to understand Anya, and then Lloyd really try to understand Bond. What about you? Come on.
And
Come on.
I really hope that we see more of this in the part 2, because this is a two-parter. There's a couple of things I did want to talk about that I didn't notice the first time when I read the chapter, and of course going through it again, I saw it. Well, I pointed this one out earlier, and the one of the scientists in Bond's flashback looks exactly like one of the SSS agents that we've seen multiple times in the chapters.
The left one, the one with the the hairdo is kind of quite special. That guy.
The one with the on the far left, the very square head
Yeah.
with the big nose.
Mm-hmm.
Although they all have big noses.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that same model. I'm going to say model because I don't necessarily think it's the same character, although it could be.
Well, it's odd. This guy isn't actually wearing a lab coat. He's just wearing a jacket. And if you take a look at it,
Yeah.
everyone else is wearing lab coats. The guy on the left you're talking about is not wearing one. So
That's a
he
good
might
point.
not-
That's a very good
He
point,
might not
actually.
actually be a scientist. Maybe he is an SSS officer.
Because he was one of the SSS, or he was the guy during the tennis arc who took the painting. Him and the guys, there's like 3 or 4 of them. They came and they took the painting, and he's the one holding the painting. And,
interesting.
yeah, and then in the Sylvia chapter, he's also two of those
he's
same
the one
guys.
surveillancing her.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
that?
yeah, he's
Oh,
tailing
wow.
her. So
I didn't remember that at all. Wow.
yeah,
Huh.
so I mean, it could just be the same model, but you know.
But this is Endo we're talking about. If he puts something in, it's usually on purpose. It's not just because he's like reusing a model. I think the guy would rather literally just create a new face model than just reuse someone like that. But I don't know. Could be wrong, but that detail about him not wearing a lab coat is very interesting.
Was that Tari?
Not also point out. Not also point out the bald man. I think the one that. There's the bald scientist in the I don't know, right? Right?
Oh yeah, the bald guy. I just noticed
Yeah,
him
the
too
bald
on the
guy,
far
yeah.
right,
Mhm,
like in the far
mhm.
kind of back with the round glasses. He was in Anya's flashbacks too.
Yeah,
right?
Oh,
yeah,
was
yeah,
he?
yeah. That's
I believe
yes,
he is the bald one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
The
Interesting.
design is
It could.
design is the same.
I mean, he could. They both could just be generic scientists 1 and 2, because
Right.
I literally somebody made the joke that like, okay, that's evil Frankie and evil Lloyd, because it basically is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, they look like
Or more
Muppet
like Evil
versions. So that's conspiracy theory number 1. Now, conspiracy theory number 2 that I have for you today is I don't think anyone really noticed this, but okay, like when they first walk up on the fire, and Lloyd's like, what's going on, and then he's like, oh, there's so many fires lately, some people are saying it's arson. And
Arson, yes.
yeah, so and like I'm thinking, is there a serial arsonist on the loose now? Is
Oh my God.
is that going to be like, are we going like all in on the next arc like after this, or is it another one of Endo's famous, red herrings, or like very delayed gratification where we're going to see something like 20 chapters from now or something like that? But I thought that
I just
was
sent some
interesting.
screenshots in our podcast chat, but
yeah?
it is like the same looking bald, literally very specifically bald-haired, round glasses scientist from Anya and Bond's flashbacks.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's anything to go off of, but it's like maybe it's worth noting.
I mean,
I don't know.
Like I said, you never know. With Mr.
You never know with
Green,
Endo.
yeah, Mr. Green, they introduced him like 15 chapters before he was like actually
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So like Endo seems to have a very clear idea about what characters go where and like where they should be before you actually get to be introduced to them.
Yeah.
Like he's already kind of got that figured out in the world, which is interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
It's Lloyd already mentioned it at the beginning of the chapter. Where Given the state of things lately, we have to be ready for anything. Given the state of things lately, what do you think he
Yeah, that's
imply
true.
by that?
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, also coupled with, I'm not sure if he's referring to the whole
The outcome.
situation on the Loreley, the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could also have to do with this might take, I don't know, take place a few weeks into the future, so that like that comment about the arsonist is like means a whole lot more. It's not just like a one-off thing where it's like,
I feel like it can't be, because like an arsonist is kind of an interesting like criminal to work with
Yeah.
if
yeah,
they wanted to. Like who knows what the hell could happen with an arsonist on the run or whatever.
yeah.
Hmm.
Or it might just be. I mean, we
Maybe Loid and Bond will take out the arsonist this arc.
listen.
Like,
Anything's
it's
possible
him,
at this point. I don't even know anymore. It's
basically.
like,
Yeah, I mean, Lloyd, Bond's got he's the one with the future sight. It just comes and goes whenever it pleases, so he can't really control that.
yeah.
But whenever it
Mm-hmm.
does happen, he's usually the one jumping into action to like help people out, which is
Mhm.
really sweet. So like if he got a vision about the arsonist, he probably would, like do something about it, and then poor Lloyd's gonna have to like chase down his fucking dog again.
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
Poor
but at least,
Bond. Poor Lloyd.
This is so far fetched, but I mean, Arson is making trouble. Then Wise might tell Lloyd to do something, but at the same time, man, then Garden also might tell Yor to do something, like incidental joint mission.
Hmm.
Is so far fetched, but then maybe
It's
we
possible.
can hope. We can hope for it.
I don't know. I feel like Garden kind of focuses on more really high profile targets, unless this arsonist is like gonna become a huge deal.
It could.
I'm not sure if
I'm
he'll
not
be
putting
involved.
too much stock into it. I would say
Yeah.
it's possible because they do go after criminals, or like not criminals
Well,
specifically, but like
high corrupted politicians.
yeah. But like
that kind
basically
of thing.
people who could like really do damage to Ostania, basically.
Yeah, like the major government and the
Mhm,
people and the
mhm.
population like itself.
Which I mean, an
Arsonist-
arsonist would. I mean,
that seems like something like Yuri would take care of mostly.
ooh, wait,
Directly the
would we maybe
protection?
get a Yuri arc? I would be down for that. That would be
Oh,
interesting.
Yuri and Lloyd. Oh, Yuri. Oh,
Yuri and
okay,
Lloyd? Oh
okay,
my
Oh
god.
my god. Them working
okay.
together would be so funny.
That'd be good cop, bad cop, but they're both kind of bad cops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
love it. I would pay money to see
interesting,
that.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah, I would be
Interesting.
very interested in seeing that too. Or like if they were stuck in the same building that happens to be on fire, like how the fuck do I deal with this without the other figuring out like
Mhm.
what kind of certain skill sets I have?
The,
yeah,
the hate relationship. I mean, the hate love relationship between the brother-in-law. I mean, I need to get out. I need to help him, but I don't like him. So how? And Bond will be caught in the middle. Oh, poor Bond.
poor Bond.
Who knows? I think it's just gonna be a short little chapter about Bond saving the day,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lloyd is like, yeah, what a good
Yeah.
dog. You're like my best buddy.
We're bros. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's what it's gonna be. But that's
Probably.
fun speculating.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see how many little lighthearted chapters we might get before it really goes into something more heavier.
Yeah.
And like by then, who knows? Like I'm very curious about. Apparently, the anime is supposed to be out by April.
Mhm.
That's what all the posters are
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what exactly is going to get covered in 24 episodes, because I don't actually have a really good idea in my mind of how they're going to translate or adapt the
Okay.
manga into episodes per
Okay.
se. Like,
Let's.
do you guys have a better idea?
So I would actually let's move on to Jump Festa, because we did we did our predictions
Jump
video
Festa.
that didn't end up coming to fruition because of technical reasons. But now that Jump Festa has passed, that was last week.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh god.
I know time flies.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about it. Talk about the information that we got a little bit.
talking about like Jump Festa itself. Like, funnily enough, the day it came out, I was at work and I didn't get to go onto the voice chat until right after it all fucking ended. So I was in there for 2 minutes and then the live stream ended and I hated everything.
I know.
Why do I have to work? Why am I working full time? I'm gonna quit my job.
No, don't do that. Spy Family's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, you
anyway,
honestly, you didn't miss much, to be completely honest with you. The Japanese audience got a whole lot more than we did, to be quite honest with you. What we got essentially was, okay, like you had said, we found out it's going to be a 2-core anime. And that's going to be 12 episodes in April. And then another 12 episodes in what I assume is going to be winter. And like you said, as far as like the scope of the anime itself, I would assume that the first 12 episodes are either going to end with the Inusan crisis or it's going to lead up right to the Inusan crisis because they showed Bond at the Japanese event that we didn't get to see, but I would assume that's a really big spoiler. So unless it was going to be in the first season, they wouldn't have, shown it.
Right.
Yeah, and he was animated.
Right.
We didn't see him move or anything like that, but it was definitely his animated form. So yeah, there's that, and then we also got to see their voice actors, Yor and Anya.
Yeah, all right, let's talk a little bit about them.
Let's talk a little bit about them because I think they are absolutely perfect.
Yep.
Some people might not agree. So what do y'all? Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's not so much I don't like it. I'm just a little bitch and I'm a little nitpicky about like children voices not being voiced by children.
Okay.
And I know that's not really a big issue that I'm not holding out or anything, or I'm not gonna say it's gonna ruin the show because we didn't get like a child voice actress doing Anya or anything. Because like someone did point out to me that probably due to labor laws they wouldn't be able to get a child to voice a very well-known character a lot for work reasons, and like I completely understand that. So I'm like I'm more or less fine with it, but I was like a little bit maybe I guess a little disappointed that Anya's voice sounded the way it did.
Really? So what's off-putting about it?
Well, I guess for me it very much does just sound like an adult woman trying to sound higher and squeakier with her voice. For me, and it just kind of throws me off, mostly because in my head I've just already seen and heard Anya in my head is like actually sounding like a child for the most part. So like this new voice is like, I guess basically it doesn't fit my expectations, and that's not really anyone's problem but mine. And I completely understand that, and I'm not gonna like fight anyone about like this voice actor. I don't think she's doing a terrible job at all. I just don't really love the voice because of my own expectations not being met. I'm just a little disappointed, but that's just a me problem, That's really it. But everyone else I think sounded fine. I think Loid and Yor sounded perfectly good. I was really excited when I found out that Yor's voice actor, what's her name?
Sayori Hayami.
Yes, so
we've been manifesting her.
Yes, and I have no idea who she was beforehand.
I just know that she does Shinobu from Demon Slayer. She does
a lot of people.
She has a lot of voices. She does. I checked her behind the voice actor page. She has done a lot of voices in her time. It was just cool to hear her because like I instantly connected it, I think, to Shinobu when I first heard her in that trailer. Because like Shinobu's character in Demon Slayer, like I'm not gonna get like too deep into it, but like her character is like she's a very smiley, happy, sunny looking person, but she's also terrifying and can poison you and kill you with her sword.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty much spot on, just like Yor, sort of similar.
Yeah,
except Shinobu has a bit more, has a little bit more of, I think, of a dark side, you could technically say. But like the voice, like it's got that great kind of airy, wistful, like very pretty quality to it that
Yeah.
hides a lot of deep, dark secrets.
Yeah.
And it's like very. I think it's a perfect fit for like. She sounds great. She
It's
sounds really, really great.
I don't think
Yes.
sultry is the word I would go for, but it's very like it
Well, it's
is.
very like friendly for sure. Like very like kind of light, airy. I'd say like friendly. Like I don't want. I guess a little ditzy. You could call it even because you're technically is like depicted as being
Yeah,
a little
she is.
ditzy and like airheaded, kind of like in her own head or like out in space or whatever.
Hmm.
She's not very grounded to anything per se except for her brother when we first meet her.
Yeah.
And I think this voice kind of represents that, but maybe over time her voice, maybe like her demeanor and voice will change a little bit as the character kind of grows more into this family and like, really grows to care for them. And it's like, I'm kind of tied down by how much I love this family, but I wouldn't give them up for anything kind of thing.
Yeah. Um, I like me personally. Oh, Atari, how do you feel? How did you feel about the voices when you heard them? Like, I mean, do you think Anya was a good fit? Do you think Yor was a good fit?
I think they choose a very good voice actress. I mean, unlike Kubo, I know that in Japanese anime, there will be adult who will voice kids
Mm-hmm.
characters because so I kind of expected that kind of childish voice we call it, childish voice, but actually from for all the voice actors, what the one thing that I'm very curious is to listen or to hear how they perform the duality of each character. I mean, every character in Spy Family has the the day side and the dark side of them.
Oh
And,
yeah, like,
and
that's a really
I
good
mean,
point actually. Like, how is friendly Lloyd Forger,
Hmm?
the
mhm,
psychiatrist and the loving father and husband, how is he
yeah,
going to sound compared to super steely, cold, dark, serious Twilight the spy who's going to murder you if you turn
exactly,
around,
exactly.
or fuck with him kind of
True.
thing? Like, how is that going to come across? I'm very curious
I
to
Yep.
see that.
Me too, me too. And then, yeah, I mean, for live action, we can already hear several examples from the first PV and the second PV and their live stage. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
live already sounds very different in that two scenes. But for you, we have got the sample. I mean, the PV is too short, and for already the difference between when she's being cute little Anya and using her power and try to determine what information she got. The TV is just too short. I'm very curious about that. How do
so
they perform the duality of each character to them?
I think so. Uh, to your point about the difference between Twilight and Lloyd Forger, I think those live between the live readings from the Japanese broadcast and the international broadcast, uh, to the voice actor's credit, Takuya Aguchi, he's got a lot of range. So I
Oh, he
think
is.
I
Yes,
think
yes,
his
he is.
normal speaking voice would be Lloyd Forger's voice, just because it is a lot more energetic and social. Whereas the deeper voice is very Twilight, and even though the
Mm-hmm.
deep voice is also Lloyd Forger, because that's kind of how he used for the live reading for some of the manga panels.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be more personable between the two. I think Twilight's gonna be the usual Twilight of just very serious and all that. Your or yeah, Sayori with your I think is going to be much the same way. I think we got a little bit of that with some of the trailer actually. Like we saw Thorn Princess and it was much deeper. And then
Mm-hmm.
your Forger, still very uh, out there, outgoing, very light as Blue said. And then my thing with Anya, and maybe I'm the odd one out here. I really liked the voice actress, Atsumi Tanizaki, I think it is. I don't know. Like I see what Blue is saying. I definitely want. I want it to be as true to a 4-year-old child as possible. But at the same time, Anya is very. She is still a child, and Endo presents her very much accurately as a child. But she's also like a stand-in almost for the reader, and she is kind of like the chorus of this story playing out. So she has to be a little bit more relatable. And the range that the voice actress kind of gave Anya in the trailer, it wasn't squeaky to me. Like I didn't get that vibe from it. In fact, I like that little bit at the very end where she finds out you're Storm Princess, and like her voice is like really deep, like she's like, oh, like I don't know. I just thought that was really really cute.
I
And
like that.
Yeah, I
No,
think
I
that
did like that. Like the little, it was kind of like not smooth. It was like kind of a rough little like, oh my god,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but basically the voice wasn't very like super cute and like smooth or anything. It was just kind of like, well, I guess like real emotion from a real voice, and I appreciate that. I do.
Mhm.
I don't think the voice actor is bad at all.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
of
said,
course
this is
not.
really just me being nitpicky about my expectations, but I can live with that, with this not being, with it not happening, because like I understand why they probably won't do it that way, why it
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense to. So like, I'm sure I'll get over this and I'll be like, I changed my mind. I'm fine
I mean,
with
it's
it
a
after
personal
all.
taste. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
I
it.
mean,
And
I'm sure the voice actors, they all sound like they're doing a wonderful job. Like, I
Yeah.
applaud them all, really. Like, I think they've done a bang-up job doing the voices. Like, they all sound pretty much like what I think more or less I would have imagined in my head anyway, if, if I didn't already have, like, very specific ideas for Anya. But, it's not that big of a deal for me. It's just nitpicky, and honestly, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with what we got. It could have been different, and it could have maybe been even worse, but what we got was really good. I think a really really solid casting.
Yes.
And to be honest, I say that Anya voice actress has the hardest work to do. I mean, Anya that has a very lots of variety of her way of speaking. I mean, the mispronunciation, her talking with her friend, talking with Bond.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of it needs a lot of technique. So I think the voice actress has a very great talent to do that.
Yeah. I think it's in good hands. The voice casting so far.
Yeah.
We'll see about the rest of the characters. I'm honestly not too worried about the rest of them, to be honest with you, as long as the foragers are respectable. But what I will say though, what I am super hyped for is that fucking intro music. Oh my god!
The music, yeah.
That jazz that jazz
so
line in the beginning.
I'm
oh my god!
I'm really excited to see what they come up with, like for an opening and closing song. Oh, I'm so excited.
The closing song, yes.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for like what they're gonna come up with, like how jazzy and I just need something really good and jazzy. God, that's all I'm asking for.
We just want jazz. That's all we want.
We just want the jazz. You like jazz?
Do you guys know the music they use as the back sound for the interview will be used as the back sound for the anime? The back sound?
Oh,
the
you
back
mean
sound
like for the trailer, that background kind of jazz?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I think that's
and during the interview of the voice cast, they have a very faint back sound music during the interview, the voice cast.
Ooh,
interesting. I really like that. I like the piano actually. The piano is so cheerful and still jazzy, and it's so good. I think so. I don't know. I mean, any of you notice the back sound music from the interview?
maybe it's like the same tune. Maybe that tune for the background music used for the trailer is gonna be kind of like the main tune used for an opening. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't. I'm still.
I mean, it's an important, probably kind of piece of like melody for some, for some, it's in there for a reason. Like maybe it's not exactly going to be the intro music. Maybe it is. Who
I
knows?
hope so. I I mean, I would assume it's one of the because every anime has that one tune that plays when like some like epic stuff is happening. I'd imagine that's the one.
Yeah.
And then I'll keep my fingers crossed for Lisa. Maybe, hopefully, we'll get
Yeah.
an ED from her or something. Just because her and Endo have that thing going on. And then we already knew the director. Again, he's done a lot. I'm not worried at all about him. And then the composer, well, not the composer, but like the group handling the music, No Name. They did the one for Doro Hidoro. So that really doesn't need any other comment. Like they know what they're doing. So I'm sure we're gonna get. We actually heard a few tunes. I don't remember if it was in the international broadcast or the Japanese podcast, but broadcast. But yeah, we heard a few tunes, and I liked what I heard. For the life of me, I couldn't tell you at the top of my head, what the tune was. I'd have to go back and look at them, but it was good. Do y'all have any? I don't know. Is there any takeaways from this that are you feeling good about the anime, or are you still concerned about some parts?
I actually have another kind of weird, maybe nitpicky thing that I realized while I was like watching the trailer and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Spy X Family takes place in technically in a fictional country, but it's very clearly supposed to be based in European and German kind of culture.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. It was odd for me when I was listening, I guess, technically to the trailer, and I don't know, weirdly enough, hearing just like your call Anya, like Anya-san, weirded me out for not weird. I don't know how to explain it, but basically it just reminded me that this is technically a piece of media that comes from Japan and is made by Japanese people.
Yeah.
For so long, I kept thinking about it as, these people are German. They're like technically a European German descent. That's the country they technically come from.
Yeah.
But because this is like an actual anime now and the characters are talking in Japanese, I just remembered like, oh yeah, this is technically a manga from Japan, of Japanese media.
Well, there's some things you really can't like get over the fact, like if Yor was just like rudely calling Anya, or like I don't know, like there's something.
It's just a weird thing for me that I don't know, like kind of threw me for a loop weirdly enough. Like I didn't think about it too hard, but when I realized that, it like made me realize a couple things that I hadn't thought about until recently, which is very odd. Like I know that this is a manga made in Japan by a Japanese manga artist and author. I totally get it. But weirdly enough, I like in my own head and world, because I've been reading this thing in English anyway, I just completely saw them as being like European and German the entire time. That's just like another weird kind of thing. That in my head, this is what it was just like for me. And now that the anime's coming out, it's technically doing things in obviously probably the proper way, but it's just like throwing me for a loop because it's just not what I had in my head. Again, it's just an expectations kind of being changed or altered or not met sort of thing that I'm dealing with. And it's not like a bad thing or anything, but like it just makes me think about like how Endo, when he was like making his one shot before Spy X Family was I Spy, and that was technically about a spy in modern day Japan.
Yeah.
And like when I read that, I thought it was fine, but when I read, I was like, wow, this is so weird. This is like, I'm glad that Spy X Family isn't this.
And then like now it's this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's just like expectations.
Yeah, it's just
changed.
curbing
or, like,
expectations.
The idea of it is just being changed from like what the official media is going to be now, and it's not like bad or anything.
Yeah,
it's just something I need to get over.
Yeah, no, it's
because you know.
Yeah, I get it,
Again,
and it's
it wasn't just in my head for so long.
exactly.
This
It's
is
been
just
all of our heads. I mean, this has been stewing in the background for almost 3 years now. So like,
yeah.
everyone's got their own idea of what the series should be. So now
Like,
that it's becoming
what it should look like and what it should sound like.
exactly.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
now that it's becoming official, now we just kind of have to like, all right, so this is how it's supposed to go. Like with the whole like
Yeah.
the
Quickly
like the
speaking.
romanization of Lloyd's name, or not even the romanization, like the just how they spelled it. Because they used to spell it the normal way for Lloyd, and then they did the Loid, and then everyone's like, what the hell is this? Like,
I remember that. I was like, what the fuck?
yeah.
And then like Yoru became Yor.
I'm still salty about that, but I'll take it. I'll get over it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these things happen, and it's like it's such a small detail. It's really not that big of a deal in the long scheme of things. I just wanted to point it out because maybe someone out there who's gonna listen to this will be like, "Oh yeah, I felt that way too." I'm glad I'm not the only one who wondered about it, who was thinking about it. So like, you know, just know you're not alone. I'm also the weirdo here, just like, oh, why are they speaking in Japanese? That's weird. Like, but this is literally a fucking manga page. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hey, just be thankful they didn't like do what a lot of anime do, where they'll just hire like random like English speaking people in Japan, people who aren't VAs, and they'll just have them speak English, and it sounds just obscenely like wrong. Like they're clearly not voice actors. Like they're just some dude speaking English. Like
maybe the English dub for Spy X Family will do something interesting and have them speak with certain accents. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually very curious to see what the English dub is going to be like. Though I will be basically watching in Japanese dub. I'm very curious what the English voices would be like later on. You know.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Honestly, as long as the dub is fine, or the sub is fine, that's all I care about. I'm probably not gonna watch the dub at all, but I don't know. Maybe they might get a ringer or something for Lloyd. I don't know.
Well, who knows? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it depends. I mean, usually I do the Japanese dubs because I want the most accurate, you know, like basically I want the most accurate telling of the script, and I'd rather get it with subtitles than just do an English dub, because sometimes they'll change the wording and meaning of certain things, and I know those are usually just small details, but to me it matters
sometimes
just a little bit more.
Yeah, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, sometimes it matters to me just a little bit enough that I'd rather just get the original Japanese dub and do subtitles. But I do recognize that sometimes some English castings have been really good, and because of it, and you know, because obviously English is my first language, or my only language that I speak fluently and read and write, it's sometimes easier for me to associate characters with the English voices because I know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
More so than like kind of the vague blob of voice work I can think of in Japanese. Because, you know, I don't understand Japanese fluently or anything, so it is what it is. But who knows? Maybe they'll do a really good job with the voicing for the English dub, and I'll be able to kind of see them as maybe those voices. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with what we got so far with just the Japanese.
Yeah, no, like you said, like I mean, there's some anime that like I will only watch the dub. Full Metal Alchemist is one. I'll watch Soul Eater. And several others too. Like I won't touch like the Dragon Ball Z subs at all. I can't do those voices. I'm sorry. I know the VA's a legend, but yeah, I grew up with Goku sounding like a guy, so I just have to stick with that. But yeah, I'm stoked. I know from the rabidness of the server when we did the watch party, Blue. I mean, be thankful you weren't there. Partly, it was a little crazy there. But yeah, I think the coming few months will be be exciting. I think. Yep. Oh yeah, I think we are more than ready for this, and I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get an early first episode or something, or at least part of an early episode. But yeah,
the hype's been real for it for sure.
It's so long. But yeah, I think we got ourselves a good little podcast here. I think we covered all the things that we've been missing the past couple of weeks because it's just been chaotic with Christmas and all that good stuff. And thank you both so much for joining me tonight. I know it's a little, I know today was probably hectic, but I'm glad you could take time out of your busy schedules to talk a little bit of Spy Family with me. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
Of course, it's a really interesting experience for me to be able to join a podcast during daytime in my area. Anyway.
Yes, I know the time zones are not kind to us, but I hope that we can all be on the same podcast again soon. And I don't know, maybe some surprise information will drop, and then we'll do a podcast next week. But if not, we will be back here again on the 9th or 10th or somewhere around that time. Whenever the new one starts.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, all right. Thank you so much for joining me, ladies. Thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.